Howdy folks, I'm Joel Robinson and I'm a naturalist with the environmental education organization called Naturalist for You. And I'm based in the city of Orange. And I was just wondering, what do you think a naturalist is? Do you have any ideas, Sydney? By the way, this is Sydney, my assistant. She's also my daughter. And she goes to El Medina High School. So do you have any ideas about what a naturalist is?
I wonder if it has something to do with studying nature?
Well, if you think about the name, the root word is nature. But what is nature? And if you're studying it, how do you do that? There are actually a whole bunch of famous naturalists from all over the world that have written books, they've been in television, they've been depicted in movies, and you might know some of these naturalists. There's a woman, and she's from England, and she wrote some children's books, actually illustrated them, and they were about different animals that you might find in the English countryside. And one of the animals that she wrote about had long ears, liked to hop, and got in lots of trouble sneaking into a farmer's land. Now, who might that be? They made a big animated movie about this rabbit. His first name started with a P. Anyway, if you think about this person, she was a naturalist. Her initials are BP. Does anybody know who it is? She wrote about this rabbit along with many other animal characters. Do you know who it is?
I think I do.
You do? So who is it, Sydney?
Beatrix Potter.
Beatrix Potter. And who is that famous rabbit she wrote about?
Peter Rabbit.
Peter Rabbit. So she was a naturalist. And in addition to writing and illustrating these children's books, she actually illustrated all sorts of plant and animal drawings that she just observed in nature. And she wasn't the only one doing this. So are there any other famous naturalists that we can think about? Are there any that you know? Do you have any ideas?
John Muir.
John Muir was from Scotland, and he fell in love with America's natural beauty. He explored Yellowstone National Park and the Sierra Nevadas and was a big advocate for the establishment of national parks, including Yosemite.
Raise your hand if you've been to Yosemite before. All right, very cool. So this John Muir, he was spending time with the president, and this president, well, he has the same name as a soft plush animal. And he liked to hunt, actually. Do you know who I'm talking about? He had big teeth.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt, right. If you think about a naturalist, they're spending a lot of time using this word. It starts with an O. I actually said the word a few times. I don't know if you caught it. It starts with an O. Actually, everybody show me your O. There you go. All right, so there's a word that starts with an O that all these naturalists use all the time. You're using it right now. And if you break your O apart, let's break it apart. Everybody do this at home. All right, there's 5 parts to this word. Now, while I'm speaking, you are, what's the word?
Listening.
Listening, that's right. Okay, so what do you think the next one is?
Seeing. Looking.
Seeing, looking, that's right. What's the next one?
Smelling.
Smelling, that's right. And what's the next one?
Tasting.
Tasting. Oh, what's the final one?
Touching.
Touching, very good. All right, so we have these 5 things now. Everybody knows what these 5 things are. They're the 5
senses.
Senses, that's right. So let's go through them again. Listening, looking, smelling, tasting, touching. Let's do it even faster. Listening, looking, smelling, tasting, touching. Oh, I made a mistake. You're faster than I am. That was pretty good. So the 5 senses, if you wrap them all up, you get this word that starts with an O. And that's what naturalists use. You use every day to survive, to enjoy yourself. What do you think that word is? I'll give you a hint. The next letter is a B, and the next letter is an S. What do you think it is?
Observation?
Observation. Everybody say observation.
Observation.
That's right. So that's something that I use and all of you are using every day in order to survive, learn, educate each other. As a naturalist, I observe all of my surroundings and I use those observations to help people cultivate a relationship with their environment. And there's different ways I do this. I host a bunch of activities, including nature hikes. I have classes both outside and in your classroom. I do workshops where we teach people how to do different skills and things like birding by ear, where you can identify different birds just by listening, or identifying different plants that were used by the local indigenous or Native American people. Plants that can be used as food or medicine or materials, that sort of thing. We'll track wildlife, where we go on different paths looking for wildlife evidence. Those are some of the fun activities that I get to be involved in with the general public, school groups, scouts, church groups, businesses, anybody who wants to get outside and learn more. Our nonprofit for 13 years, we have been serving the public in that way.
Hey Dad, how did you become a naturalist?
Well, I didn't really know I was going to be a naturalist when I was a child, but I did enjoy spending a lot of time outside, and I especially appreciated all those little details, the bugs, the plants. In elementary school, I would go to the farthest end of the playground under a tree and spend time observing all of those special details. And I really enjoyed doing that. I did it with my friends, I did it with my brother, and my family took us out on camping trips with scouts, and we went to Yosemite National Park, and my grandparents, they used to take our family on walks as well up in Santa Barbara, Carpinteria area in a place called Romero Canyon. And all these outdoor experiences, I think, had a very positive influence on me. But as an adult, I thought, well, if I want to get paid to wander around and explore the natural environment, there must be certain ways to do this, right? How would you get paid to be a naturalist? Or are there any other types of positions that you can think of that relate to parks, natural areas, zoos, things like that? And I realized that one of the most common jobs that relates to the natural environment, well, a lot of times they're known for wearing hats, and their name starts with an R, for spending lots of time going around exploring, patrolling. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is it a ranger?
A ranger, that's right. So originally I thought I was going to be a ranger because I really enjoyed exploring. And so I talked to some rangers and asked them, what do I need to do in order to become a ranger? And they said, well, you should volunteer at certain parks and zoos and nature centers, and you should also go to school and get certain classes in environmental science, earth science, ecology, that sort of thing. And so I did both. I started volunteering at the local zoo. Actually, think about it right now. Can you think of any local parks or zoos or nature centers that you could volunteer at? I had a load of fun volunteering at the Orange County Zoo in Irvine Regional Park, but there's another zoo in another city close by as well. I also enjoyed volunteering on the Irvine Ranch, but there's actually other ranches as well that you can volunteer on. I even volunteered at the Nature Center in Irvine Regional Park. That was a lot of fun too. And I took classes at Saddleback College as well as Fullerton College, and eventually I got a job as a naturalist. Do you have any ideas why my job is important?
To connect people with the outdoors, maybe?
Connect people with the outdoors, but why do they need to go outside? Is that essential for life?
I think it's essential.
Why do you think it's essential?
I think it's essential because a lot of people need the fresh outdoors to live.
What are some basic elements that we need to survive?
Water,
Yep, water,
sunlight,
sunlight,
food,
food.
Air.
Air. All right, so these are all things that we need to survive, right? If we don't have clean air, clean water, healthy food, and, well, we don't necessarily always go to sleep outside unless we're camping, right? Where do we sleep?
In a shelter.
In a shelter, right? So we need a place to live, to sleep at least, to protect ourselves from the rain and weather. Now, if we don't take care of our environment, if we don't take care of nature, we won't receive any of those gifts anymore. That clean water will get polluted. That clean air will also get polluted. Eventually, the conditions will be so bad that we won't be able to survive along with all the other animals out there. What's the animal that almost disappeared? What is it called? It has a huge wingspan. It's from California. It eats carrion. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Condor?
Condors, right. What happened to them? If their population started declining to the point where there weren't too many left, what is that called? It starts with an E. The next letter is an M.
Endangered.
Endangered. They became endangered. And if we weren't careful and didn't make sure that their habitat, their natural environment was protected, then eventually, if all of them disappeared, what would that be called?
Extinction.
Extinction. There you go. And we don't want to be extinct. We don't want the condors to be extinct. We don't want any animals to go extinct, right? So, as a naturalist, I'm spending time connecting people with all of these lovely things, these gifts, plants, animals, air, water, all the things that we need to live. And hopefully over time, as everybody learns to appreciate and respect our natural environment, then we won't have the risk of becoming endangered or even extinct, right? So I think that's one of the reasons why my job is important. Now, there are many different kinds of jobs in the world that are also important that help people survive. But this is my function, and I really enjoy it. What are some of your favorite things about our nature hikes?
I definitely like when there's a waterfall at the end.
Oh, yeah. Waterfalls are amazing. We like to take people to waterfalls. I think that's one of my highlights as well. Any other highlights?
When you see an animal that you didn't expect.
Oh, yes. Some of my favorite animals that I've seen are legless lizards, found right here in Orange. On this very trail, we've been hearing and seeing our state bird. Can you think of what our state bird is? It's related to a chicken. It's a ground-dwelling bird, about so big, has a little feather on the top of its head, and it rhymes with those giant mammals that live in the ocean. Starts with the letter Q. What do you think?
A quail?
California quail. That's our state bird. So, can you think of any impacts we've had with the community, Sydney?
I think everyone that has gone on Naturalist Views tours have connected to nature more and appreciate nature more.
And we've made a lot of friends, right? And so now our community is that much stronger. We can support each other, and we can all explore together, and we can take care of this whole planet. That way it'll keep giving us all those gifts that we need to survive: clean air, water, food, and shelter. So I really appreciate you participating in this virtual career day. Thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you out on the trail once this quarantine lifts. Remember, we are Naturalist for you. Just look us up on the web. You can look us up on Instagram, Facebook, all of those ways, Twitter as well. So hope to see you on the trail. Take care, everybody.